Hi all, welcome back to the final whistle then for the evening whistle as we discuss Leicester City's huge win last night over Bristol City. Leicester doubled down. They got the clean sheet and the win last night. So happy days. Leicester finally win since January. They kept a clean sheet since September 2025. Both things we didn't think would go in the same sentence last night, but they did. And what an enjoyment for everybody who was at the stadium last night, and a bit of relief for Leicester City. And Gary Rowett's now started to get the wheels in motion, and yeah, a big win to a big week for the Foxes. Dan, how are we after last night?
All good. Very tired, but all good. But it was well worth it. Well worth it. Like I say, a most enjoyable drive home as opposed to what it's not been the last few weeks. So
lovely. Fantastic. Eli, welcome to the channel, mate. Obviously, people would know you from your challenge of day 31 of not shaving my beard till Leicester City keep one clean sheet in a row. That was until last night. Talk to me about the challenge and how are you feeling with the old mucker coming off?
So, mate, I'm over the moon, actually. I'm not going to lie. So what it was just a bit of a joke between me and my wife and my son Ruben. It was one of those things where we were at home on a Saturday night and they just come out with some stupid idea of why don't you just, I think it was just after the Oxford game, after the Charlton game, after the Birmingham game, we lost the 3 on the bounce. I think the whole sort of fan base was sort of depressed about the situation, weren't they? And then they come up with this idea and they were just like, why don't you just not shave your beard until Leicester City get one clean sheet, just as a bit of banter, because you're thinking one isn't hard, is it? You know, and then you think actually you put one clean sheet and Leicester City together, and it was kind of like, oh, actually this is a bit of a challenge, and it kind of just took a little bit. It just went mad after the Southampton game because obviously it was 3-0. It was looking so good, half an hour left, and it just went obviously kaput, didn't it? And I think it's had about 500,000 views now. So yeah, it's gone pretty big. I've obviously been in a few newspapers, been on a few radio shows with AD, and 31 days in, and it's finally happened. And tomorrow morning, I'm back up in Leicester, and it's going to be done with AD at the BBC Breakfast Show.
Lovely. So. Let's say hello to the viewers. Caleb, how are we? Rich, hi Jack and everyone. It feels like we've turned the corner last night. Fingers crossed we can keep going on Saturday. Yeah, we've got to go and back it up now. Obviously, we've got 4 points out of 2 games, which is good. Obviously, the results tonight are a bit, it got us out of the relegation zone. And obviously, West Brom winning as it stands, it's not really what we want. But, if you're going to win these relegation battles, you've got to go and do it the ugly way. And maybe this is how Leicester do it. It'll be the proper Leicester way. Phil, how are we, mate? Evening, Jack, how are we? Great game yesterday, wasn't it? Yeah, it was good. Evening, Ross, how are we? Good luck in the gym. Jordan, are you in there by any chance, Ross? He looked a bit beefed up last night on that football pitch. Me and Dan were slightly surprised that he looked well up for it in that game. Suffolk Crunch. Kipre's not had a great week, has he, mate? Diving for a penalty. And they're giving away a penalty and they're getting booked and they're getting banned. What's happening, Rich, at Ipswich? Because Stoke, they were beating you 2-0 at half time and then you obviously thought you'd won it and then giving away a bloody daft penalty. It's not looking good for Ipswich, is it? Unbelievable. Yeah. As Mick would say, just as it'd go. It can't go on like this, can it, for Ipswich? It can. a shame I can't really use that for Leicester now. It was
No, you're done with that, Jack.
Anyway, see you tomorrow night. Yes, you will. Yes, you will. So, boys, we're here to talk about Leicester, the big win over Bristol City. Let's talk about the team, actually. A few changes. Hamza Chowdhury come in for Ricardo. Jordan Ayew started. Mikasa didn't start. He obviously was on the bench with Bobby Reid, obviously, is the cam. Harry Winks didn't start the game either. He was replaced by Jordan James. Dan, what was your thoughts on the team? Because it was a bit of a makeshift team for Leicester. We were surprised that we didn't really know that it was going to work so well in the end. We just sort of complained about it and then that oral humble pie afterwards for what was to come. So what was your thoughts on the 1-11 by Gary Rowett?
Well, as you know, as we said, walking down to the ground last night, disappointed, couldn't understand.
You need to deduct Rich, boys, not me.
Couldn't understand the decisions he was making, especially the Ayew one after Daka scoring, being more aggressive and leading our line a lot better. The way he presses, the way he harries, doesn't let a back four have an easy night, unlike the left back Ayew. So yeah, we obviously disappointed in that. Expected a little bit more, and again the same as well with Hamza sort of coming almost straight back in as the right back, Ricky P sitting out, and not only just Ricky P sitting out, Aluko not even being given the opportunity. But hey, he's the guy that works with the players every day. He's the one who speaks to them every day. He knows exactly where their mindsets are, and we have to, after last night, give him the respect. He knew what he was doing, and thankfully, it worked out all round.
Evening, Board. Eli, what was your thoughts? Were you surprised, or was you a bit like, Daka ran himself into the ground against Ipswich, and you sort of had to change it a little bit, maybe?
Yeah, I think I was kind of, because obviously, I travelled quite a distance to the game, and I got there, and I was a little bit, I don't know if the word's underwhelmed a little bit by the original lineup. And, we sit here in hindsight, you look at it now and you go, well, what a masterstroke. But you also, I was thinking, I can understand Chowdhury coming in. I can't understand why Aluko's not getting game time. I think, if you want to breed the young talent in, you've got to give him game time. Just getting under 21 minutes isn't gonna help. But I can understand, Ricky's played quite a lot of games, quite a lot of minutes in the last 6 weeks. So I could probably understand why that was done. I thought it was nice to see Jordan James back in from the start.
Missed him, haven't they?
Yeah, that moves me on to Jordan Ayew. It just frustrates me seeing that, especially after getting a little bit of form out of Daka. And I actually think Daka's ran hard. He's worked hard. He's left it all on the pitch in the time he's been on the pitch. Certainly in the last 3 games, I thought he played well against Ipswich. Actually, great goal and things like that. But I think with Bobby in the 10 as well, I think sometimes he can go a bit missing in that position.
Yeah.
But I think it's particularly when you've got Jordan Ayew in there, and there was a few times because I was next to the family stand, and I could hear Bobby Reid screaming at the top of his voice at Jordan Ayew to get back into the number 9 position. For the first probably 25 minutes of the game, he was screaming at him.
Yeah.
So so you can tell that isn't a tactic for him to drop.
At least someone's annoyed with him, and not just the fans. When he keeps doing that, Eli, when he finds himself out on the wing or in a number 6 position, Jordan Ayew sees to persona he's a number 9, but I think the 9's the wrong way round, to be honest. You'd think bloody Jordan James is the striker, so they might as well swap numbers. They might as well turn each other's numbers upside down and then swap positions. But no, I was a bit underwhelmed by the changes, to be fair. Daka, I thought he's sort of done well, hasn't he, with his running and that, and how he's worked hard. And Ricardo, I'm not surprised by the midweek thing. I said it to Dan that he can't play 2 games in a week. So now Hamza's back. It's going to be like for like sort of changes. And But then you sort of look at Jordan James coming back in, and we know what him and Skipp offer. That sort of connection this season, a lot like bloody Iniesta and Xavi in midfield when them pairs start playing together. And, it looks like we've got flashbacks of Barcelona. And obviously last night it looked exactly that, between how them two would, one would sit deeper and help the defence out. And then obviously Jordan James would obviously bring the attack as well as just defending. So let's talk about, obviously, the first half. I thought we had a good first half. First 5 minutes were a bit shaky, weren't we, Dan? Gave away a few corners. But then Leicester started to get control of the game, and Ben Nelson scored.
Go on.
Yeah! Come on! There we go. Nelson. Come on!
I think Dan had his eyes on his Maltesers last night and not the bloody free kick when that were happening. He didn't realise who scored. And I said, Ben Nelson. He said, what? And I said, yeah, Ben Nelson. And I said to Dan before the free kick was taken, I said, if we had a good ball on this to the back post, we'll let it in. And we did. And I called it, just like we did with Dapper at Ipswich. So great ball in, Dan. Good ball by Ben Nelson. Proper defender's header. And I thought Leicester deserved the lead.
Yeah, absolutely. And another positive with it, that's now 2 games in a row we've scored, but from set pieces. We're not really renowned for our set piece quality, but that's 2 from 2 now. So that's clearly something that they've been working on. And hopefully, like I say, it only always proves out to be a positive thing, and turning that corner, and with the back four looking a lot more solid and robust in how they're working, along with, like I say, the set pieces seeming to be being paid off. So again, Rowett's doing his stuff, and it's working all right.
Yeah, I agree. Eli, what was your thoughts on the first goal? Obviously, Leicester, we complain that they're not scoring enough from set pieces. But then we get the goal from the set piece again. 2-2 now for Leicester.
Yeah, I think it's interesting as well, isn't it? Jordan James comes into the pitch and whips in a great ball like that straight away, first sort of 15 minutes. Like you said, though, I thought we were a bit under the cosh for the first sort of 7-8 minutes. There was a lot of corners. Yeah. It felt like it was coming, if that makes sense. And then we just kind of... It felt like we just got control of the game very quickly in the first 10 minutes. And from there, obviously a great ball in, Nelson, good header at the back post. It felt a bit sloppy marking, if I'm honest, from Bristol City. But, keeper was kind of in no man's land. It was one of those balls where you make a decision. Do you come? Do you not? He kind of just felt like he just didn't know what to do. I think that, that's credit to Jordan James for the ball in the box. When you put it in that 6-yard area like that with pace, the keeper's got a decision to make, and 1-0, and I think the pressure's then on City, isn't it, to go for it? So
it is. And Dan, we kept that goalkeeper busy. That goalkeeper had to pull out some great saves to deny Leicester. We could have had three goals in that first half, if I'm honest. I mean, that keeper was busy, and Mavadidi were tracking back and helping Luke Thomas, and we obviously complained a lot about Mavadidi not tracking back. But last night, looked far more up to the task. I know you were shouting at him a few times to go and mark his man and do as he's told from the sideline, and he'd listened. He had a quick glance to where the player was.
He definitely heard me once. There was no doubt about it. He checked his shoulder and went running out as soon as I was screaming, "Wait, come in!"
Yeah, there we go. We created a few more chances, but then Bristol City, I think they offered very little after Leicester had scored the first. Didn't really offer a threat. Obviously, they had the chance, didn't they? What Stolarczyk ticked over the bar in the opening 5 minutes of the game, but then Leicester doubled the lead through the man himself, Abdul Fattah.
Poor Steffi. Great ball. Oh, Abdul.
Oh, yeah! Get in! Come on!
Someone sounded like they'd enjoyed that more in the background. But anyway, Leicester, two to the good. Mavadini assist. I know Abdul waited for it at the back post. Bobby D called over. He went for the overhead kick, Eli. Great finish by Abdul, though. Low and hard, and Leicester fully deserved the second goal to double the lead.
Yeah, he doesn't score. He doesn't score tap-ins, does he?
No.
It'd be fair to say. So, yeah, great ball in the box. I thought, like I said, I thought Mavadini played really well. You know, not just for getting before that. Obviously, he hit the post a couple of minutes before that as well. So, you know, I think his confidence was up. But great ball in the box. Not quite sure what Bobby was trying to do. Mark that closely, trying to do an overhead kick. I'm not sure. You see high foot's given for things like that sometimes. So, I thought the ref actually did quite well.
Would you have gave that as a free kick? I know you're a ref.
Do you know what? If the player would have gone down, I think it makes it very difficult. You got a decision to make then, and 9 times out of 10, a ref would go that way and give the free kick. But the fact that he stayed on his feet and just turned around and didn't really challenge it, I think, you know, but strong hand by the keeper. It just didn't, you know, it was just hit with pace, wasn't it? So, great finish. You know, but he does that regularly, though, doesn't he? You know, he hits it. He just hits them first time where you'd think maybe you take a touch and think he just hits it. But great finish, and it really then ramped the pressure on Bristol City, didn't it?
It did. Before we go on to the second half, let's talk about this man, Oliver Skipp, Skippy Esther. That's what I like to call him anyway. Dan, Oliver Skipp. This guy's I'd call him an unsung hero this season, to be honest. I'd say he's the surprise package for what we thought we was going to get out of him at the start of the season. But he's really trying to come into his own element, Dan. He works hard. He's obviously he's a workhorse in that midfield. And he really got around the pitch last night, Dan. And you know, I thought he had a cracking game.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Look, yes, he is not so much an unsung hero over the last few weeks because it's been coming up, but he's took a lot of stick over the last 2 seasons, and some unjust, some justified. But it's like we've said, Tom, it's more to do with how much we paid for him, and when you pay that sort of money for him, you expect a lot more. So that's where probably I'd say it's slightly unjust, because at the end of the day, it's not him who demanded the fee. It was Tottenham Hotspur that demanded the fee, and it's a bit harsh to judge him on it when we were daft enough to pay it. But at the same time, you know, like I said, you do expect a little bit more. But his performances, certainly this second half of the season, and since he's been a regular, he's stepped up. He's done all the donkey work. Like, you know, as I said, you know, last night there was even a time where he defended the back post, where he flicked over the player's head, ran round him, come away with the ball. You know, there was another one in the first half where he turned the bloke, put the afterburners on, and left him falling over trying to pull his shirt back. You know, there's just little bits like that where he's becoming first name on the team sheet style. And you know, like I say, you can say countless times where he's got last minute blocks in, and you might say, well, that's because he was out of position or whatever. But 9 times out of 10, it's because he's been having to get there later because he's been covering for Luke Thomas when he's just left him in his dust by running past him from midfield. So last night he was unbelievable. He was my man of the match without a doubt. You know, I know Abdul will get it because of the goal. You know, possibly Yaka because of the penalty save, but his work and his dogged determinedness to win us the ball back and get us moving was brilliant.
Yeah, he builds that partnership well with Jordan James, doesn't he? Like Oliver Skipp. Like I say,
he allows him to shine. He allows JJ to shine.
He does. And Jordan James is the hard worker who knows he is. You know, them two have been real key to Leicester this season in midfield. But you can sort of see when they don't play together, they sort of miss that little bit key element between them. So obviously they both offer different things for the team. you then look at Luke Thomas last night, very good defensively. How many times do we say that this season? He's had more critical than good things to say about him. But I thought last night, him and Mavididi controlled it well on that left-hand side. I thought Thomas was good last night defensively. What was your thoughts on Thomas's performance?
Played really well. I think it does help. Don't get me wrong. I think it does help when you've got your wingers tracking back and supporting.
Yeah.
I think that happened on both sides. And I think there was countless times when actually the wingers were overlapping the fullbacks and supporting, and and they were kind of swapping positions a little bit. But I think that makes a big difference. I thought Luke Thomas just looked pretty solid. It looked like it was a different player. It's great that we've done it for one game, but I think what you look for now is a bit of consistency, don't you? And you want to see that against QPR, you want to see that against Watford, you want to see that against Preston, and obviously Sheffield Wednesday, things like that. So, but I think there's been significant improvement under Rowett. I see someone just put that comment in, but I think that's important. Rowett was obviously a defender, so he's obviously sharing his experience with him. And Luke Thomas is still quite young, so it's not like he's a fully fledged pro at the moment. He's still young, he's still learning his trade. But it was nice to see, I'd say a 7 or an 8 out of 10, which is what you want from your fullbacks every week consistently, and it was nice to see that. So long may that continue.
Well, I thought the defence was strong last night between them. Stolarczyk didn't really have a lot to do in the game, but then we look at Ben Nelson. We thought Ben Nelson had gone from hero to zero at one point when he gave away the penalty. But let's look back at Stolarczyk's big save in the game. Then is the clean sheet we're coming for Leicester.
Come on, Jakob. Keep that clean sheet intact. Yeah! Go on!
See, I called it. I told you he wanted that clean sheet.
Yeah.
He gave him wise words just before. Like you know what your job is. You go and prove me wrong. I tell you what, he had a good game. Stolarczyk. He was a bit shaky in the first 5 minutes when we spoke about that Coley miscommunication down when the ball come in the box. But
yeah,
I thought he was more quicker in playing it out as well. He weren't too long last night in his kicking. He would just keep playing it out from the back and just reassuring the defence were in front of him that he trusted them last night to really help him a lot more. And I think Stolarczyk had a good game, and he's obviously come under a lot of criticism, hasn't he? I know a lot of Leicester fans would rather Begovic in goal, but last night I think, the trust that Gary Rowett showed in him as well to go in, give him that game last night against Bristol City was quite good. Yeah. And I thought he showed quite well how good he can be when he's got a bit of confidence.
Well, that's it. Hopefully so. Like you say, yeah, there was that little bit of a, we'll call it a mix-up, but yeah, neither of them took control. Whereas, like I said to you last night, Jakob should just come and clean the pair of them out and taking the ball, where it was like hesitant in doing anything. And luckily, their player turned his back and switched off from it, and Jakob just picked it up. So, but as the game went on, and the more blocks came in, and the more that Bristol City didn't look like they had anything in them to trouble him too much, the more confident he got. And then again, after the penalty save, like I say, he done well. He was starting to direct his back four that little bit more. I'll give you he played it slightly quicker last night, but he's still too hesitant for me. I'd like him to be a lot quicker, especially with the width and the wingers and the speed that they've got to get out to them early. Will just get us up the pitch that bit quicker as well, and take that pressure off the back four. But he seems like to hang on to it until one of the centre halves are free to roll it to, and for them to play the pass when he's more than capable of doing it. So, that's my only criticism for last night. Whereas normally you can get out the Magna Carta and continue still.
Yeah, well, it looked like the stars was aligned for Leicester, which it very much was after that penalty save. Everything went for Leicester last night, and it's about time we had that bit of opportunity. And we took it with both hands. We knew how big of a game it was, Eli. We just hoped before the game that the fans wouldn't just turn up last night at home, and we knew what the players' performances have been like at home this season, where they've fancied it away from home and not at home too much this season due to the criticism. But last night they stepped up and gave everything as a team, and I think you just got to give every credit to the team last night that they came soaring, conquered Bristol City, and got a deserved huge 3 points.
Yeah, absolutely. I think what it sort of showed me, I think actually the fans were fantastic last night as well. I thought, like, there wasn't one sense of negativity in there, even when the pressure was on. The penalty didn't even get negative when the penalty was awarded. It was like that. It felt like there was a sense of, don't worry, Jacob's got this. He's going to save it. I don't know if you noticed, but Fran Vietes was on the touchline, pointing to where he was going to put it. He was stood right in front of me, and I could see him. He had this piece of paper, and he had a list of all of the Bristol City penalty takers and where they've put their last 5 penalties. And it literally spot on, just pointed bottom left, and he did it. Yeah. But do you know what was obviously saying? I think if we went back 6-8 games, there's no way Slarchik would have caught that ball from the penalty, got up straight away, and launched it up the wing. And I think that is counter-attacking football for you, isn't it? And I think there is an element of that of what we're seeing. If you look at the possession, last night Bristol City had 60% possession, we only had 40. Usually it's the other way around. So it was interesting to see that there was an element of counter-attacking football, solid at the back, and play from there. But I thought the fans were fantastic, and I think that really helped the players last night.
100%. So just as you say on that, Eli, it was like normally when we have that steady, or the opposition rather, have that steady progression of keep going, and you think we're sitting there thinking we're going to concede in a minute, but it weren't. Everyone's on their feet, get into them, opposed to anything else, and you could see sort of their chests puff out a little bit more and go and squeeze them and go and put them under that little bit more pressure and nick the ball and go on the break.
And what I liked last night was it looked to me like they were. Sometimes you get it when a player will press as an individual, and the 6 and the 8 won't step up, and the 10's in no man's land. It felt like actually Mavididi, even Ayew to a degree, it felt like in the first half, actually Ayew was running around like headless chicken. I'm not sure if it was always, he was always where we wanted him to be, but, you can't fault the fact that he ran. And then when you've got the 3 of them, Fatawu, Mavididi, Ayew pressing at the same time, I think it really, really helped, to be honest. And that builds the confidence up, doesn't it? So,
yeah, that's what you said, Jack, though, didn't you? First thing you noticed was Ayew would add a bit of Jack Daka juice or something and come out and was pressing.
If you don't squeeze it off, you don't get the juice. And there we go. You see, Jordan Ayew, he must have had an orange before the game, gave him a bit more energy, He looked like he were up for it last night. And obviously, when his name were called, it was just like boo. And Jordan Ayew were like, you know what, I'm not having none of this. I'm actually going to do something tonight. I'm actually going to show that I can. And, with that run down the line, Dan, it turned into spaghetti legs at one point. Freaking brilliant, Jordan Ayew.
Yeah. He was blowing out of every orifice he had. He could blow air out of at one point.
I think what I would just say about Ayew, though, is I think what we have to remember is just stop for a second and think he's now playing for a contract somewhere. He need, at the end of the day, he's not going to get a new contract with us. I think we can all probably agree on that. He's now playing for a contract somewhere else. So at some point, he is going to have to start showing the Jordan Ayew that was at Crystal Palace, or the Premier League version of Jordan Ayew that I get was several years ago. But at a contract somewhere, he's going to have to start performing. And again, the same with Daka. They're both having to sort of stick their chests out and start showing what they can do.
So defensive.
I still have a scary feeling that we're going to offer Daka something.
Well,
I think we're going to have an NDD case on our hands, and it's going to get to sort of July time, and he's not picked up a club yet.
Well, let's bloody hope they ain't done an Harry Winks type of thing where they've had a clause in his contract when they get the championship promotion.
No.
Let's hope some of them players ain't got them types of things in the contracts, because we were surprised by the Harry Winks one. And, you know, you look at Harry Winks last night when he came on, did his job. I thought he were excellent again. Eli, talk to me about Harry Winks. Obviously, he's been the biggest criticism for off-field matters. But when he's gone and put the shirt back on, he's just done his job, and he's been that midfielder we know he can play, and he's been a lot more positive. He's smiling. He's doing everything. But then again, you talk about what he's left in his contract now, which is obviously just over a year due to that extension that he's got now. So, obviously he'll be playing for a move in the shop window, of course, for the summer. Obviously, we will get a transfer fee for him. But talk to me how you think how pinnacle Harry Winks has been since he's come back into the team under Rowett.
I think he's probably been the most formed player, hasn't he? You know, I think he's the most composed player. Let's be honest, he's without a shadow of a doubt on paper the best midfielder in the Championship. You know, without a shadow of a doubt. Just thinking about what happened, obviously, with Cifuentes. So I look at it from the perspective of Jack. I know we've spoke about this in the past. If you have an agreement when you sign with someone, and I'm just being devil's advocate here, and you're told you don't need to do overnights, that's fine. I'm happy with that as part of the contract. You know, no problem whatsoever. And then new manager comes in. Sorry, Winks, that ain't happening under my watch. You know, I understand he lives around Hemel Hempstead area, doesn't he, or someone like that down.
Yeah.
And then you're immediately told, no, sorry, the agreement you've had, no, thank you, not happening under my watch. I think personally, if that happened to me in my job, I'd be pretty fed up as well. Now, when you're on 90 grand a week or whatever, I don't solely know if that's allegedly now, but just get on with it, I suppose. But since he's come back into the team, like the goal he scored, I think it was at Stoke, wasn't it? You know,
great finish.
The way that you just saw the emotion from him. And I think he needed a moment of adulation again from the fans. I think he needed that moment for his own confidence. And actually, you're here. Do what everyone in the fan base knows you can do, and he's doing it. And when he came off the bench last night, just in the last minute, using his head, to the corner,
went to the corner,
and the crowd just went, yes, this is what we want to see. Go and break the opposition, get in the corner, waste a bit of time, which is something we've not, we've not been in a position to do that, but it was just sensible, experienced play, and that's what we've been missing. So, I was really pleased to see, come off the bench. When you've got players like that as well, you got someone like, you got Skipp, you got Jordan James, you got Winks, you got three of them. Only two of them can play. We get that. But the fact that you've got one of those three that's always going to be available to come off the bench, even Macassar can drop into centre midfield if he wants to. I just think it bodes well for the rest of the season if you've got all three of them playing well.
That's the biggest headache with him now, isn't it, Dan? Gary Rowett. We've got Jordan James, Skipp, Winks, Aaron Ramsey, Bobby D. Cordova-Reid, Macassar. You've got a lot of midfielders now which are fit. So where does it more to go? I know you spoke about it on Blue Tinted Glasses with Eli and how much of a headache it's going to be for Gary Rowett, but where do you sort of see it regarding the midfield now? Because I would certainly stick with Skipp and James going forward. That's my personal choice from what I've experienced this season as a whole. What's your sort of... It's a nice headache to have.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a better one than he's had when he turned up at the club at the first. The first.
He didn't have options, did he?
He didn't have anything.
Players injured. Vestergaard's obviously still out as well at this minute in time. But he'll obviously get Vestergaard back at some point for a defensive sort of positioning. But what's your thoughts on the headache for him to have?
Yeah, well, like I said before, Jack, if you'd have asked me again, sort of 6, 7, 8 games ago, I would have said not Skipp, but the way he's performed, you can't not play him. And as I said, he allows JJ to shine. When they play together, they work well together. Yes, I like the fact that Winks.
He's actually turned up on the football pitch tonight, has he? Connor Cody.
Yeah.
Nice to see he's not got a microphone in front of him. I bet he's the man who announced that he scored as well, innit? You know, Connor Cody. Yeah.
Probably. I like Winks because he controls the ball better. He controls our play better. You know, when we was under that little bit of pressure from Bristol City last night, you know, you want somebody who's prepared to have the ball in difficult, tight spots and be composed and find the pass and to get us moving forwards. But like I say, equally, Skipp done that last night, and like I say, you literally cannot fault him at the minute. You know, and he even turns up against Southampton with an overhead kick goal himself. So how you can drop somebody after that, that's it. But yeah, look, as I say, for Rowett, from the first day he turned up to going, bloody Jesus, you know, I ain't got much to pick from here. I've got my centre halves are all dying on me, my centre mids are all dying on me, and I've got strikers that can't score goals. I'm in right trouble here. So we are looking in a lot better shape. I mean, that bench last night.
We had strength in depth, Dan.
We had some good strength. You know, when you consider
a lot of youngsters to work with, didn't he? At first, he looked at the Middlesbrough bench. He didn't really have experience to bring on the bench to do more. I just trust the youngsters here because I haven't really got a lot to work with. Well,
again, it's nice with the fact that yes, they were on the bench, but any one of them could have started, and it wouldn't have weakened us. It would have only made us stronger. You know, you know, it was a good point made by Anil that when we brought them on, we actually did look stronger because we looked at a fitter, better side and regained control of the game again.
Eli, what's your thoughts? Obviously, midfield it's a nice headache to have. Obviously, we're not the manager, are we? You know, we don't pick the team. It's going to be frustrating for him. But you know, he's obviously got good choices to make.
Yeah, I mean, we I suppose we don't as fans have the luxury of seeing what happens on a training ground for 6 days a week, do we? But you know, I suppose nobody's mentioned the fact that you know we've got Louis Page as well that's not making match day squads now, and obviously Aluko, like you mentioned, Dan, earlier on. I think as well, just remembering the bench was probably around about £400,000 weekly salary.
Yeah.
So, you know, it's, we've got some very good experience. You know, Lascelles can't get a game at the moment. Aribo's getting minutes. But when you start thinking about Skipp and James, I'd absolutely stick with Skipp and James. I love what Harry Winks brings to the team, but I fear the energy that Skipp and Jordan James have. I feel sometimes that maybe when Winks comes in, it just slows the game a little bit and invites pressure. And it's a busy schedule coming up. You know, we have got some Saturdays, some Tuesdays, some Saturday games. I think you've got Easter coming up with the Friday and Monday games and things like that, you know. And when you look at the fixtures now, you've got 5 games in a row now that are very, very winnable. You know, if we go on if we can get, I don't know, 10 points from 15, we're having, every single one of us having a different conversation, you know, and these are very winnable games. All the teams we're playing certainly in the next 4 are completely out of form and having trouble themselves. So I think they're there for the taking. And I think this is where we're going to have games where actually Harry Winks coming in and maybe resting. You know, we've got to remember as well, Jordan James has just come back from a pretty nasty hamstring injury. You know, you don't want to have an Aaron Ramsey situation where he lasts a couple of games and job done, he's out again. So I think there will be chopping and changing, certainly in that midfield and probably in the number 10 as well. But I actually think the rest of the team's probably pretty set, and I don't think you want to make too many changes. But I just wouldn't want to risk the energy that Skipp and Jordan James bring to the team.
Dan,
yes,
we talk about clean sheets, but I mean, me and you got excited going into added time. Should we have a look?
Yes, mate.
Clean sheets tonight. This might just be happening, you know. We ain't kept a clean sheet for 30 games. This could be done. Come on, get red, blue away. Get red, blue away.
Dan, mate, we were loving it, weren't we, Dan? We were feeling the good vibe all round that stadium last night, Dan.
Oh yeah.
I tell you what, the fans were as well, because they got on their feet, didn't they, Dan, and started singing Gary Rowett's Blue Army. And that spurred the team on even more. Like you seen a Leicester team that looked up for the fight, the attack. We wasn't camped in our box last night like you did see against obviously Ipswich and that. We actually got out. We looked far more fast flowing, and like Eli said, everything just came together. The bench, the players that we brought on, they added a lot more strength. We were looking at bloody Mr. Teammate in the A-team last night, mate. You know what I mean? Peter Defoe, that was Bristol City. So, you know, to get that clean sheet, Dan, 171 days without a clean sheet for Leicester City in the league. Coventry back in September. An amazing feeling, Dan, to just get it over the line last night and really get that, what do we call it, a monkey off our back. Yeah.
Absolutely. I mean, like I say, you could just feel the relief towards the end there in the stadium.
Oh,
you know, as you say, the noise. I've not heard it as loud as that in a positive way in quite some time now, and like it says, our faces I think told it all, and it was a brilliant experience. And hopefully, you know, that can continue. And hopefully the team has seen, you know, what can happen. Again, Abdul should have scored towards the end there where he beat the two players, nutmegged him, you know, because we were all screaming at him. Go and get at him.
He ended up into the post at one point.
That's it. Exactly. You know, and I think if that had, again, you know, if that had been 2 or 3 games ago, I think Abdul would have just settled for knocking it off the player and potentially get a corner. You know, whereas he didn't. He went and attacked him, and he looked really strong. And again, as I say, I just hope that this gives the players, you know, the energy and the enthusiasm and the relief for them as well. Because it will. It 100% does play on your mind when you have a record like that. And you were looking at each other and thinking, not only where's the next win coming from, where's a clean sheet coming from, you know, where's the next result coming from? You know, with the 3 draws, okay, yes, the Norwich defeat was a bit of a bad one, but like I say, last night, you know, it was just brilliant.
Daniel, you look at the you know, the win last night, the draw against Ipswich, the draw against Middlesbrough, obviously the draw against Stoke, which we probably could have won in the end, but to get 6 points out of them games, obviously 2 of the games would have been really tough. Middlesbrough and Ipswich, you probably wouldn't have expected anything out of them games, to be honest, but to show up at the Riverside and Portman Road and go and grind out a point against 2 sides who are in the promotion spaces this season. Last night looks like massive points. What you take out of them games?
Well, we said, didn't we, beforehand? You know, the point against Ipswich away was no good if we didn't get a win last night and we didn't back it up. You know, and now, let's say we've done that. We now got to go to Saturday and pick up another 3 points. You know, and really start. You know, yes, it's disappointing with the results that are going on tonight. But we can only look after ourselves. That's all we need to do. We can't worry about what anybody else is doing, you know. And I know it's not easy, but you just have to do that and concentrate on what you're doing and just keep winning games and you'll be all right.
Eli, clean sheet and win last night then. What sort of boost do you think that gives the players now going into the next 9 games in the Championship? Obviously, this relegation battle is not going to be easy, but you know we can make it more better for ourselves if we can commit ourselves the way we did last night and conduct ourselves in a more positive mindset going forward. And confidence is a huge thing, but then the mentality's got to be right in good stead now going forward into obviously the QPR game. We've got Watford coming up. Preston, Sheffield Wednesday, really winnable games now going forward. Wouldn't have probably said that before last night's game, would we? You know, we're thinking, well, bloody hell, we struggle against these teams. Look what we did at Bristol City in that game. We were there to witness that. So talk to me about the confidence mentality.
And I think we still got Blackburn and Portsmouth to play as well.
Yeah.
So, it's not, we've got a lot of winnable games. I think the only ones that you'd look at and go on paper are challenges, Millwall and Hull. But
Yeah.
I think sometimes football's a funny old game. And sometimes, you need the rub of the green. You need a bit of luck. You look at the penalty last night and you go, that would have done Stolarczyk the world of good for confidence. The fans chanting his name again. That's not happened for a while. I just think the mentality, what I saw last night was the attitude that you've been screaming out for 3 months, 4 months, 5 months, 6 months even, and it felt like yesterday everyone wanted. You could see the way they celebrated with Ben Nelson, the way that they celebrated every single player over there. None of this sort of slow walking. It was like, come on, let's go and get it. Let's go at them and do it again. And it just felt like the whole attitude. It felt like it was a different team. And I'm not naive enough to sit here and think that we could be having a completely different conversation if we fall into the Leicester way on Saturday against QPR. But I look at it and I just think they've just got it. They know now if they put a performance in like that, the fans are going to back them. And do you know what? If they lose games by giving their all, I think the fans also accept that as well. I think it's when you sort of see absolutely nothing happening and just trotting along the pitch like you've just picked up your wage and then you crack on and get on with the rest of your week. But actually, last night just felt like there were so many moments in that game where you go, 3 months ago, we'd have lost that game.
Yeah.
And it just felt like we were seeing something happen. And, maybe that times in with Jordan Jameson, the momentum coming back into the team perhaps and things like that. But it just fit. On my head's telling me we've seen what we're going to see for the rest of the season, and I just pray to God they carry it on now. Because, like you said, the teams we got coming up are winnable games, on paper. So
Exactly. Yeah, that's it. They're easy wins on paper, aren't they? But unfortunately, paper don't give you the result.
Yeah, that's it. You've got to go and earn them. Dan, Gary Rowett. It looks like he's now got his footprint on this team now, should we call it? He's been here quite a few weeks. It looks like he's strengthened up the defence a lot better. We look better defensively. Obviously, against Ipswich, we were good in defence for quite a bit until obviously Ipswich scored. And then you look at last night, solid defensively. Everything that went in the box, we defended. We didn't crumble. We didn't let the pressure get ahead of us like we would have early on in the season. But I'm sure that brings a lot more positivity as well, doesn't it, with the defence and obviously the goalkeeper? Because the goalkeeper is only as good as the defence in front of him. It's what they say in football. But your best part of your defence is your attack. So it just feels like we're starting to see more of what Gary Rowett is as a manager now, that he's really starting to get things in motion regarding how he wants things in that Marty style away from things now are starting to look a lot more distant.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, excuse me. Obviously having a full week last week on the training ground helps massively to strongly get your point across, pull people up in where they're drifting and things like that. Having a little bit of, possibly one-to-one coaching with them, really getting through and drilling down on what you want from each individual, having that little bit of a relationship and the time and learning, having a little bit of insight into how the players' minds are and things like that, that when you've got games Saturday, Tuesday, you don't really get the opportunity to. You can only do little tweaks here and there on going over the games and what his strategy will be and what he wants how he wants the players to carry it out. But having that week was fortunate, and with the last two games, it's clearly shown, as you say, most certainly defensively, where we've needed to tighten up, and that's what he's done. Like I say, we now go from being a bit sporadic in where we are with our fullbacks to being that bit tighter, like I say, defending the width of the box, not going inverting, not going flying up and trying to get overlaps in or underlaps in and whatever else the new fancy idea of playing football is. He's just told them, do your job, do the basics well, you're good players, and you'll be fine. Anything, especially with Luke Thomas, and I think it helps having 2 left backs as part of the management team, has given him that stability and that knowledge and know-how in what to do in certain times and certain points of the game, of going, look, that's your job. Your job is to defend first. Anything else is then a bonus from there on of what else we can get from it. But your job is to stop that fullback from getting crosses in, or when it's coming from the opposite side, make sure that your player's not getting away from you. You know where he is, and you can either head it clear, block it, or clear it yourself and tidy it up. And that's what Luke Thomas has done in these last 2 games, and he's turning it round slowly.
Yeah, and I think that's what you want from every player, isn't it? Turn into the players that we know they can perform to the standards of, and I think we've made it very difficult on ourselves, Eli, this season, that we've not seen enough of what we seen last night. We've been very much too. It's like we've been too relaxed. It's like we just expect to turn teams over without working hard to do it. And this has been the moral of the story all season. And we just look at teams and think, yeah, but they're easily there for the taking. We don't have to turn up to this. But it's proved now that Gary Rowett's got that mentality and that you have to work hard to get points. You're not just going to get given them. It's not given right anymore. You're in this relegation battle. Maybe it's the reality now that it's hit them that, okay, we're in trouble here. We've got ourselves in trouble. Is it too late? It's only as too late as you now make it, Leicester. We've got to start getting points. But what's your initial thoughts regarding man of the match? I know quite a lot of people have spoke about Oliver Skipp. I obviously gave it, and me and Dan agreed on Oliver Skipp last night. But if you could pick anybody else for man of the match, apart from, I don't know who you'd have obviously chose, who would you thought sort of was in the contention for man of the match, and who did you give it to?
So my top 3, I think, obviously Ollie Skipp was just, I think he touched every single blade of grass on the pitch last night. I think Fatawu, I thought just went, he ran at them and he didn't just do that same cut on the left and cut inside. He took the player on as well, which was nice to see, because I think a lot of fans are getting frustrated with the cut back, that, put the ball in the box, no strikers in there, things like that. But one name that, I can't believe I'm saying this, but Luke Thomas last night, I thought was absolutely superb. And it's the best I've seen him play all season.
Yeah.
But I think what I really like is, as well, just thinking about the manager for a moment, he speaks so well. He says it as it is. We've got none of this like Cifuentes stuff where it's like, yes, we just need to be better. We just need to get consistency. We just need to, he's seen the problem. That, Dan, you mentioned it around the invertation of the fullback and dropping into CDM. Every single team in the Championship figured us out. They knew exactly what to do. Your left back gets the ball, you pin a diagonal. You've got your right back in the CDM role. You've then got a narrow back 3, pin it diagonal either pro. You're through, and that's what was happening. And 80-90% of our goals have probably come from that. If you think back to Charlton, two diagonals done, 2-0, game over. But I think the key now, Jack, is consistency. We've got to start seeing consistency now, and we've obviously come out of yesterday. The whole fan base is super positive again, and hopefully we can sort of carry that on. But Luke Thomas for me, really, really good last night. I was really pleased with him.
Should we go for a few ratings quickly on the 11? I'll tell you what, we'll do this to end the show. Actually, I'll tell you what, let me get the lineup up. So Jacob Stolarczyk, what would you give him last night out of 10? Dan?
Me, I'd give him a comfortable 8. Probably even close to a 9.
Yep. Eli?
Yeah, 8 for me.
Luke Thomas?
Me, 9.
Yeah, I was going to go with a 9. I think he just seemed to be solid. He looks strong as well. I don't know if you noticed as well with his throwing. It didn't feel like they were just looping in the air and waiting like a cement bag to drop. It just felt like they were pinned. And, you know, I know we've not yet seen one become effective, but, you know, they were panicking
on at the near post. And if Abdul had been switched on, he had an easy tap in at the back post, but he didn't. He stayed outside the box. So, you know.
Yeah, I think I'd give Thomas a 9 last night. I thought we were good. I always credit Thomas when he plays well. I'm not one of these who's just going to scapegoat him and feel like bloody hell. I'm always, you know, you've got to give him credit where credit's due, and he has a good game. You know, Ben Nelson, Eli.
So, because he conceded that penalty and almost cost me my beard, I'm gonna put him as 7, to be honest, because I thought that he had blown it for a moment. I think he knew that, because you could tell by his reaction, he knew as soon as he made the tackle that it was a penalty. He did a lot of good clearances, a lot of good interceptions. I thought him and obviously Akoli worked well together. They seem to be talking to each other well. So I'm going to go with a 7 for Ben.
Lovely. Dan?
Yeah, it's the same. Are we allowed halves?
You can have 7.5 if you want to give him a 7.5.
Yeah, I'd go with 7.5 just because. I totally agree with Eli. The penalty, there was just no need to do it either. I think, you know, we would have still been all right. But it's, you know, sometimes it's what we do. We try our best to give a goal away. So, you know, it is what it is. So all round, his ability on the ball was a lot better last night. His passing was a lot sharper. Him and Akoli worked very well together. He did win 95% of his headers. I'd say just for the mishap, but the goal as well. The goal was a well taken header as well. A 7.5 for me.
His accurate passes last night was 44 out of 50, 88%. Shot accuracy, 1 out of 1. He had 69 touches, 3 touches in the opposition box, won 6 tackles, 7 clearances, and 8 clearance headers. Do you know his ground duels won was 6 out of 7. His aerial duels won, he won 3 out of 4. So that's quite dominant. I'll give him an 8. I think it's fair to give him an 8. Caleb Akoli, I'd give him a 7. For me. What about you, Dan?
Sorry, I've just seen Tripe's message, and I've lost all concentration.
Go on.
Oh god, that's like the old MSN days. That is correct.
That's it. No clean sheets for Tripe anymore. But a 7.5 for Akoli. 7.5. Very good. Very strong.
I'm going to go for a 7.5 as well. I think if he'd have headed the ball and not the post, he'd have been 3. It would have been 3-0, wouldn't it? So I thought he looked solid as well, and you know he looked like he just. Sorry, I can't take it seriously anymore.
No, he does it. Sorry, Eli, he does this to us.
You've got to love Tribe.
No, sorry, I should rephrase. He does that to me.
He does it to Dan. He's a big fan of Dan. He's a Tribe, you know, and good. No, I'll give him a 7.5.
Yeah.
Hamza,
7.
The yellow card.
Yeah, it's
I give him a 7.
Yeah. He was a bit all over the place at times. He was a Hamza special. Plus the booking that was again unnecessary, really.
Yeah, I thought that was a bit soft, mind. I thought it was a bit of a soft yellow. In the middle of the field, there was probably no need for the referee to do that.
No, but it's an easy one for him to do.
Yeah.
So, if you can get away without giving him a decision to make, then like I said, I agree. Soft, but just didn't need to do it.
Tonight's scores are brutal for us. They are at the minute. West Brom's still winning. Charlton's winning. Oxford are winning. So
Norwich are winning.
We've got to focus on ourselves. So black back into it.
Not worry about it. Yeah, that's it.
5 teams are not 3. So
Blackburn.
Norwich have just scored as well.
Yeah, I see that.
I don't know if Dan wants to oblige with a tripe or I don't know. Anyway, Oliver Skipp. Can I give Skippy a 10?
Yes, mate. You can give whatever you
Sure.
want. It's your scores.
I'm going to give Skippy a 10, mate. He did everything right last night for me. I'm going to give him a solid 10.
Yeah.
I agree. Yeah.
Yeah. Like I say, he was excellent. Like I say, he was my man of the match. I'd give him a 10.
Jordan James, Eli, I'll come to you first on this one, considering you it's with his dad.
I would probably give him an 8.5. I think there is still that element of rustiness coming back from injury. I thought he did well. I thought the ball in for Nelson was a fantastic ball with pace, right in sort of no man's land. Gave the goalkeeper a decision to make. He just looked composed and calm, and that's what he brings to the team, isn't it? He brings that energy as well, defensively supporting the left back, supporting. So it was, I'd give him an 8.5, maybe.
Yeah, I'll stick with 8.5 as well. Would you agree, Dan?
I was going to say 8 for me, only because he didn't get through the whole 90 minutes. But yeah, look, 0.5 is just so what. But yeah, excellent ball in, as expected with him as always. Tireless work rate, gets around, gets us playing, knows when to make the pass, knows when to make the run. And I'm just hoping and praying that Eli can speak to his old man and make sure that he does.
Well, they've got an option, haven't they, Leicester? I think Leicester have done first on Jordan James, which is a good thing. But obviously, it all depends on what league we're in next season. Of course, it does. He's a top player. We'd like to keep him. 4 million quid? So it's basically.
It's pennies at the end of the day.
Yeah, it is for a player of that quality.
In this day and age, it is pennies.
For a 21-year-old.
With all the potential. Oh, my life.
Yeah. But at the end of the day, all things working in our favour, which I know we're not used to over the last few seasons, but all things working in our favour, we get him in.
Yeah.
We get him on a 3-4 year deal. He's then only going to be 25. He's still got a ton of football to go and play elsewhere. We know the quality, like what we said before. He can easily be a top half Premier League player and succeed there. I have no doubt about that at all. But I just hope that we get him in. And he does play well for us, and he can get us up the league, or he can get us promoted, and then we take the ball again from there and see what happens. And then, if it does come round to the time where we have to sell him, we do sell him, and we get what he's worth to us, and for his value as well, as opposed to it being a Tillemans where we get him in. And he is quality, and we know he's quality, and everybody's sniffing around him, but we think we can sign him. But all players, unfortunately for our level and our size of our club, when they are quality, they will outgrow us, unfortunately. As much as we want to be in the top 5 of the Premier League again.
I think as well, and I know the club get a lot of grief for negotiation and things like that, but I think there is an element here of they probably deserve a bit of credit for getting inserting in some sort of clause there where we get first option on 4.3. Yeah. That's good business. Yeah. And we speak a lot about the negative negotiations, and there's a lot of it. Don't get me wrong, but that's pretty good business to have had that inserted in. And I think if any other club wanted to buy him, you're talking 10-15 million pound easily at the moment. So. It's a no-brainer. I can understand why we're doing it. I understand why we didn't do it in January.
He loves the club. Yeah, I know he wanted to stay in January. We are in the relegation zone again. That's probably only negative about it. it is what it is for now. We've got ourselves to focus on, and we've got to be picking up the points and bettering other results going forward. So, Abdul Fattah, I'm going to give a 10. Obviously, he did get man of the match last night from Leicester City and Sky Sports and whatever. So, Abdul, I thought he was exceptional last night. Abdul, a bit of his old self, got it to defenders when he needed to, created quite a few chances, and Southampton have just nicked one, 1-1.
Oh, they super.
Southampton's just scored.
Fantastic, and no VAR, which is great.
So there we go. Leicester are back out the relegation zone as we speak.
That's it.
Yeah, there we go. West Brom have dropped points.
Yeah.
So Abdul 10. What about you, Eli, for Abdul?
Yeah, I'm gonna give him a 10. And I think what was really nice was to see. I think it was a sense of relief when he scored that goal as well. It didn't look like the old, like he was. Sometimes when he scores, you see the big beam and smile. I think he realised the sense of what was going on and how important that goal was, and just the way he attacked, and actually, more importantly, the way he tracked back and helped Hamza as well was, really, really impressive. And we haven't seen enough of that recently. So 10 for me.
Lovely. Dan, Abdul?
Yeah. Just like I say, you can give it a 10 for the strike alone. So,
Yeah, thanks, Saints. Something to build on. West Brom are a point behind us now. Fantastic. Bobby Reid. What? Bobby Reid?
7 for me.
Yeah, same for me.
I think he
like you say, you notice he is directing traffic as to where we need to be and who needs to be where, and but just with that, he can then forget himself where he needs to be and where we need him to be. And yes, he'll work hard, but like I say, I think the legs are getting to him a little bit, and after an hour, he really fades out.
Yeah. I'd probably go 7. I think as well, what we've got to remember is he was playing against one of his former clubs. That's always challenging for a player as well.
Yeah.
He's obviously played for Bristol City. I think as well, when he had Ayew up front, who was obviously dropping back too much, so he was having to naturally fill into that number 9. So he's moving away from his thing. So it was just what I noticed with him though is he does my missus is shouting. I don't know who scored, but someone scored. She's 2 minutes. She's 2 minutes behind us. So
There's about 4 minutes.
I'd go with that. I think he's a very different player in the 10 when you've got Daka up front doing the running.
Yeah.
But like you said, he just faded out a little bit in the second half, and I think the substitution was done at the right time.
Yeah.
Mavididi.
Me, I'll give him a 7.5.
Yeah, I agree with that.
He was better than he's been in recent weeks, but I still expect and want more from Babs. He is better than that.
He were a lot more better last night. He worked a lot harder. And
That's it.
He tracked back as well, which is a good thing. Eli, Steffi?
Yeah. I've gone 7 because I think, you still want the finished article. You still want to see goals. You still want to see assists. I know he put the good ball in for Fatawu, but I just want to see a little bit more. I loved how hard he worked. I loved how much he tracked back again. But I think as a Leicester fan, you sit here and you go, we all remember what he was like 2 years ago.
Yeah.
And we're just not seeing that at the moment. We know it's in there, and I think we just need to find out how we unlock that.
Yeah, it's like when Abdul put that ball across to him, and not last season, the season before, he would have stepped in and he would have stuck it in that bottom corner. Yeah, okay, the keeper made a good save, but really, he should. A player of that quality should be finishing.
Yeah, and he hit the post as well, didn't he? So it's like. But then we talk about a game of luck. If it's 1 inch to the left, it's going in off the post. So it's
exactly. That's
pressed well as well. I thought obviously the front three pressed well as a team. Which, but yeah.
Jordan, are you?
Do you want me to go first?
You can
go me to go first.
Am I basing it off of what he's given, or I'll give him a 6.5. 6.5.
Yeah, based on last night's
He still wasn't great. Yes, he worked harder. Yes, he showed a lot more intent than he has done the previous games. And yeah, he didn't fall over until about 15 minutes in last night, which was, quite unbelievable. But for me, a player of his level shouldn't need anybody to be telling him where to be and keep pushing him away. He's supposed to be the experience to be directing these younger players, and saying to Abdul and Steffi to for him to be the centre man, pulling one of them in to be a bit closer to him, so he's not got to work so hard, but he just doesn't. He just strolls out there, does what he wants, and picks up a place of wherever he feels like going. And more often than not, it's at left back for some reason. He seems to home in on that area for some reason. But I'll give him a 6.5 for his run that he puffed out of at the end.
I'm the same.
Yeah,
well,
I'm going to go 6.
I was close.
I think I just want to see more. I just need to see more from him, and I think, like you said earlier, Jack, if he wants to swap positions with Jordan James and turn the numbers up the other way, it feels like that's kind of where we're at. But you at this level, at Championship level football, you've got to
he should be
number 9 in the number 9 position. Because you've got two wingers that are driving at the fullbacks, but 9 times out of 10 are having to cut back on the opposite foot because there's no one in there to drive the ball into. Which is what we obviously had with Vardy. And you look at some of the other teams they've all got. You look at Vipotnik at Swansea. He ain't moving out that penalty. He was on the last line every single time. Ivanovic from Millwall, they're all on that last line, and they're not dropping back into midfield. So I'm going to go 6.
That's it, because it doesn't give us an outlet when he does do that. You noticed, obviously, more so in that Ipswich game, where they just kept pumping it out and it kept coming back, pumping it out. But that's because we've got no outlet up there. Once Daka comes off, who will work one of the centre halves or even go across and push the fullback into making a mistake. When Jordan Ayew's there, there's just nothing. We are down to 10 men. He's just a floater around in the middle of the pitch, and we can't carry any floaters.
Especially at this time of the season. You
need a bit more encouragement, a bit more going forward in the team. You need your actual number 9 striker at this point of the season who's going to get you the key goals to keep you up. So that's obviously what Oxford have got at this minute in time. They've actually got Lancashire, and who's scoring goals and doing the business for them. And that's what Leicester needs, someone who's going to get the goals up front, offer a lot more in the box when Abdul and Mavadidi are driving it to the defenders and whipping them balls in. That's where Ayew needs to be, but he's not. And that's where Bobby was going mad at him last night for not being where he should be, because that's where he needs to be playing. So,
Jack, I was about 3 rows back from the front, and I could hear Bobby absolutely screaming at him. I think obviously it was down my end of the pitch, but he was screaming, Jordan, get back up here. We don't want you there. You're not any use to us there. And he was screaming. And I reckon for about 10 minutes he was screaming at him. And in the end, Rowett absolutely come out and screamed at him, Jordan, get up there or you off.
Yeah.
So
fair play. You need it.
What about the subs? Who did we bring on? Ricardo. I think Aribo came on, didn't he, last night? Patson Daka came on. Was it 4 subs?
Well, you had
Mikasa.
Yeah, Ricky, Mikasa, and Daka all came on at the same time, and then Aribo came on in the 90th.
Winks came on, didn't he?
Winks came on as well. What do we give them? 5s or 6?
Winks just came and settled the game back down.
That's it. Daka came out and pressed. He had his little scuffer shot, didn't he? His little P-roller. I'd give it all 6s, 7s. Harry Winks had that little bit of experience where he went and carried it off into the corner, and run down the clock for that extra minute or so. You know, so
I mean, Mikasa just oozes confidence, though, doesn't he? Every time he touches the ball, you think he got the ball, and there was that moment where I think for about, I think it was a couple of minutes, it was just pass, and he was getting the ball and one touch pass, and then him and Winks and just flicking it between each other and proper slowing the game down, which is exactly what you want when you're 2-0 going with like 3-4 minutes left. So I just thought they saw the game out really well. And after the penalty save, to me, I honestly didn't think Bristol City were going to score. After the penalty, I was really confident the clean sheet was coming.
I think I give Winks a 7. I give Daka a 7. I think they tried. Mikasa 6.5 maybe. I don't think he influenced a lot like Winks did and Daka. Aribo. I can't really judge much on Aribo because he come on a bit more late. Probably get a Rebo 6, a push.
I think he only got 2 minutes, didn't he?
I'd give Ricardo a 6.5.
Yeah.
He didn't really have to do a lot, did he, to be honest, when he came on? I think the game was on just about seeing it out, really. So,
yeah, as you said there, Eli, once the penalty save came, you just see the sort of the breath go out of Bristol City. And they thought, well, that's it now. If we're not going to score from that, we're not going to score. And it was just, I suppose, on our side of things that we didn't wrap the game up and get that extra goal.
Yeah, I mean, we had the chances. We had the chances.
Yeah,
we could have scored 6 last night.
Yeah.
I think that was the pleasing thing, wasn't it? It was like it didn't feel to me like we did the usual Leicester. Like we're in front, half time. Let's have a team talk. Let's get on the whiteboard and say defend.
Yeah,
it really didn't feel like that last night. But overall, fantastic.
Yeah. It was really good.
Give the team performance a 10 out of 10. Do you think Ramsey will get a game when he returns? Isn't he injured due to a few weeks? He's back in training. He is fit according to Gary Rowett, so we'll have to see what happens on that. Guys, if you've enjoyed the evening whistle, hit the like button for us, subscribe to the channel. If you're watching this on playback, let us know your thoughts on yesterday's game and give us a few ratings of the players. Jack, next score prediction then, QPR Leicester. Watching QPR from what I was watching of tonight, they look very poor against Birmingham. Obviously, they've got us next, and I think Birmingham beat them only by 1 goal. So I'll tell you what, I'll go 2-0 Leicester for the QPR game.
2 clean sheets in a row?
I'll go 2-0 Leicester. Eli, what you got?
I'm just having a quick look at their last few games. They've lost 5-0 to Southampton. They've lost 2-0 to Sheffield United. They've lost 4-0 to Middlesbrough. They've lost 4 on the bounce. I'm going 2-0. I'm going to go 2-0 as well.
2-0.
The confidence.
Me, I'm going 3-1.
3-1. Lovely. There we go then. Guys, thanks for watching. Take care. Thanks to Eli. Thanks to Dan. Thank you to everyone in the comments. Really appreciate all your time as always. Back-to-back clean sheets. Well, never say never in football. Never say never. But there we go anyway. Thanks again, everyone. Take care. We'll catch you again soon.